This is a poem written in 1919 by W.B. Yeats. It's right now, though. Isn't it right now? It's 100 years ago it was written, but it's right now.
Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hare the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out, when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and what rough beast its hour come round at last slouches toward Bethlehem to be born.
Now, wasn't that a good poem? That was 100 years ago it was written, and that was the peak of our culture then. That was like nowadays, could you imagine this being written now and being the peak of our culture? Being, oh, there's this great cultural figure. He might win the Nobel Prize like next year because he's written such great poems that have had so much relevance to our culture. And they've been highlighted in our culture by our media. And no, 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 no. This would be hidden. Okay. Like if I'm going to try it. Okay. I'm going to put this on Facebook. Well, I don't know. I don't want to lose my messaging power because I use it with my son and my daughter and my wife and like a few people. I use it for messages, but they'll kick me off if I put this. Will they kick me off? Now, you say, no, 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 this is like, come on, this is poetry. This is, come on, Michael, this is poetry. This is classic culture. How could they be against that? How could the people of Facebook actually, I sent the last video I did, okay, Joy and Woe. Watch Joy and Woe, like really, like go to it, like put this on pause and like watch Joy and Woe and tell me if there is anything offensive in it. If there's anything where you go, oh, this burns me up. This is like hatred. I got to report this because I sent this to like 25 friends. And I say friends, and like I'm doing this little quote thing. This, you have to look at my fingers. Look at my fingers. um, that's actually a very private joke. Anyway, that's a quote mark. And one of my friends reported me and my messaging stopped and I could only message to my wife and my daughter and like a couple of people that I messaged in that week, okay? And everybody else, I would get this message that for their safety, like that my message can't be sent. For their safety. Now, watch Joy and Woe and just think like, okay, now this is dangerous stuff. We need to disable this guy's ability to talk to anybody except for his family and his closest friends. Like, watch this video and see if you get that reaction now, okay? I mean, Joy and Woe, this one, oh boy, they would, I could see this, you know, oh, okay, yeah, I could see how this could give people nightmares. Because if you pay attention to this one, like watch it again, really. It's like I want you to watch my video game. No, well, yeah, I do, but you really like a poem isn't to be digested the first time. You digest it once, and then you read it again, and it gets into your imagination. Okay, it gets into your imagination. And why does it get into your imagination? Why is it important that you have an imagination? Why it's important to have an imagination so you could meet God. You can never like you could never meet God if you don't have an imagination. Okay? Um that's the weird thing about the church right now. It's kind of a left brain institution right now. It's like, hey, God is real. Why is God real? Well, let me take out this book, and it's a logic book and it's a science book, and I'll explain to you why God is real. And that's the way we operate now. Instead, we should say, oh, okay, well, here's this W.B. Yeats poem. Read it a few times and contemplate. You know, if you read a poem, you you have to put it into your imagination, and your own imagination shapes it. Okay, and this is what this is. Okay, look at how I shaped it, and then think, how am I going to shape that? And you think how you would shape it. And the thing about drawing is drawing isn't like moving image. A moving image will replace your imagination. Okay, but with a drawing, you're never hypnotized. I'm never going to hypnotize you. I'm never going to brainwash you. But with mass media, they got you. They got you by your intellectual balls. They got all, I don't want to say all of you. Anybody that like understands this poem, they don't got you. They don't have you. They don't have you. But so many people, they do, and they took our imaginations away. They really did. The moving image isn't feeding your imagination. It's replacing your imagination. The moving or the photographic image just replaces your imagination. It doesn't do anything for you. And when your imagination is replaced, it's not strengthened. Okay? We're living in a crisis, but nobody sees it because they think, oh, the imagination, who cares? People will read. I've asked people like for years and years, like actually decades, what are you reading? And I was listening to Asmund Gold, and he said, just as like I like, I'm not insulting Asmund Gold. Hold on. Um, he said, I don't read fiction. I read for information, and it's that reflects what the attitude I've heard everywhere. Okay, and the reason why Asmund Gold is so hugely popular, is he the most popular person on the internet? I don't know, but the reason why he's so popular is because people listen to him and they say, that's what I think, and they might not have put it together, but yeah, that's rational. And so when he says that, it's true. It's true. Like people read for information. And now what's wrong with reading for it? Nothing's wrong with reading for information. Nothing's wrong with the moving image. I love movies. Really, I love movies. I'm more influenced by movies than comics. If you read my comics, I'm not really influenced by other comic artists. Like I don't yeah, sorry, I don't want to insult comics. Like I love comics, and like I read. I love Frank Miller. I love all sorts of comic artists. Okay, I don't want to say Frank Miller. He's like the only guy I like, and he's not even the top of the guys I like. But I like comics, but it's so weirdly specific. You know, I like musicals. I do. But imagine if every movie was a musical. That's weird. And then you say, I don't like movies because you don't like musicals. And that's why a lot of people don't like comics, because it's very specifically just this one thing. People with spandex and suits and beep beep. Transhumanist. I don't mean trans. Oh boy, like he said that word. I should beep it out. I should beep it out. Okay, they're transhumanist. Okay, what transhumanist? What I mean by that is they're. I won't get into this right now, but it's like art has turned transhumanist. Like it's the camera. The camera turned art transhumanist. What happened was once upon a time, artists stopped imagining. And instead, they looked at a photo and they copied the photo. And that's when our culture lost their vision. And the vision is inside of our minds. All of us have a vision inside of our minds. I'm not saying all of us are artists, but all of us are visionaries. We're all supposed to be visionaries. Why are we supposed to be visionaries? So we can meet God. What did God say to people? Like, what does it say in the Bible? Like, people are coming in and trying to get into heaven, and but God, I said things, I followed the law, I did great things, and like this person's really like a pillar to the community, and God says, away from me, away from me, I don't know you. Well, how are you supposed to know God? It says in the Bible that the law is a stumbling block to faith, a stumbling block to God. So what we got is sort of a logical religion happening where everybody thinks, okay, this is the behavior. This is the behavior we want. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's the behavior I want, so I will follow that ideology. And what I'm saying is, no. Like you have to develop your imagination, and that's what prayer is. You're developing your imagination. You're like I can't say I've met God, but I've met angels, and I've been to hell. I could prove it. I could prove it. In a future video, I'll prove it. Okay, I went off on a tangent. I was talking about like a future video subject. But yeah, I've been to hell. It sounds like a crazy thing to say. I never would have. But what happened was like a prophetic thing happened, and it was true to the very second. It was astounding, and it was okay. Well, that dream was real. Okay, I'm gonna, after I've said it right now, I'm gonna actually post it. Okay, I'm gonna, like, I put it in a comic. It's in my second El Shaddai. Like if you want to like just look at, buy my El Shaddai. It's number 2. Yeah, it's whew. Okay, where was I? We're talking about the second coin. I was just waxing enthusiastically about the imagination, because imagination is where you see God. It's where you see the angels. It is the place where you get to know him. It's the reason God gave us an imagination, so you could get to know him. And Satan gives us imagination replacement. Why does he do that? So you don't get to know God. And people, why isn't this obvious? I'm going to have more videos on this. I'm going to do a video on this, like about the Lord's Supper. It's very strange. Like people don't understand it. Christianity, the imagination it's tied right into it. It's tied right into it. It's unless, like, there's an actual mandate to use your imagination, and it's very clear, and it's very strange how our culture has just become completely material-minded, scientific, factual. But what they say is a fact isn't a fact. If you look at my drawings, okay, I draw, I don't copy photos. I don't look in an anatomy book and say, okay, this is how to draw a person. I draw from me so that there's soul inside of the drawings. That's always been my belief, okay? And we've stopped that. And so the soul is never in art anymore. And the weird thing is, well, but Picasso knew this, all these, like, all of that, that's why artists started drawing like children. They started drawing like children because they looked at all the art and everybody's just copying photos and there's no soul. There's no soul. And so there's this kind of dichotomy in the brain, the the left and the right, or you want to go Nietzschean, is the Apollonian and the Dionysian. And there's always a dance between the two. But our culture is off kilter. It's off kilter. It's killed the poetry. It's killed the visionary. And it's like they're Dionysian without the visionary. There's no visionary. The visionary's gone. Okay? But anyway, I'm not really explaining the poem right now. I like in the future I will. I'll do it line by line, you know. But right now it's just this is like a music video. I do these songs, and I know people say, "Ah, you're crappy. Why are you doing it? You're crappy. You're like you could barely play the organ. You can't sing. I can't sing, and I could barely play the organ. It's true, but it's with AI. Don't you feel that everything is phony? Like, come on. Like I could sing I could get my music and AI it and make it sound like I have a big band and that I have a better voice. Okay? It's like an Instagram filter. Everything is going to be like that. And we have to get down to the grassroots and like see our humanity because everybody's into corporate art. Star Wars, Star Wars. Come on, it's corporate art. Why is everybody so like that's their soul. Everybody's soul is connected to corporate art, and they don't realize how deep art goes. Okay, and so your soul is connected. They've replaced your imagination with corporate art, and everybody screams and says, "Hey, you know, I want more corporate art, but we notice some of the messaging. So can you make it so we don't notice the messaging? Can you, please?" And then we'll take your corporate art and we'll like wear T-shirts and we'll buy little things and we'll like put them on our shelves. We'll do everything for it. It'll replace our imaginations and we won't have anything else but this corporate Bible. That's what it is. It's the corporate Bible. And all art nowadays is a corporate Bible. You know, this poem, like I said earlier, like before the poem started, this poem is today. You know, the falcon is still flying, but we've lost our poetic language to know that it's still flying. You know, we don't know because we lost our poetic language. Okay, so we can't see the big picture. We can only see the big picture in this kind of weird factual way where it's scientific factual and it's not. We don't see the dream. The dream is we're split from the dream. I mean, we've lost our poetic language to advertising for sure. I mean, ESG scores have made almost all films just sort of weird advertisements for ideology, but like what is right and what is wrong has changed. It's our Bible, our new Bible. It's most movies and news and they're advertising. They're pushing a vision equal to any other religion. And their trick is to take away your imagination as soon as an image is moving or photographic. It stops building your imagination and instead replaces it. Look at one of my pictures. You can't, it's not full. I'm not even coloring it. There's two colors. I use two colors because I want your imagination to do the rest. I'm not replacing your imagination. I'm not a control freak like our culture is. You know, CIA took figurative imagery out of art. They did. They bribed art critics. They bought magazines. They controlled the art world so that artists, there's no individual artist that can ever come up and rise up and be truthful without being quashed by a sea of inane ridiculity. You know, I like a lot of it though. Like it looks like art therapy. Like art has looked like art therapy ever like for the last 100 years. But I like a lot of it. Jean de Buffet, I like that. But people are still doing it. People are like it's degenerated into like there was a whole rash of janitors that were throwing away art because they thought it was just someone left some debris and we got to clean this up. And that's indicative. It's like a symbol of what has happened to the imagination. Art is an outgrowth of our imagination. That's all it is. It's just thought. You look at art and it's thought. Okay, so if your thought looks like debris, hmm, hmm. Now art is a currency for rich people. Turning it abstract and making it look like art therapy took it out of the culture because there's no vision anymore. The vision is mentally deficient. Okay, so it's mentally deficient, which I love. I used to work with mentally handicapped people, and I love them. I used to teach an art class to mentally handicapped people. Okay, and I loved their art. I used to do collaborations with mentally handicapped people with like to create art. Okay, I did this. We never hanged it in galleries or anything like that. It's like it's to grow the imagination. You grow the imagination. And the more you grow your imagination, the more spiritual you are. The imagination is spiritualism. Okay? You have to imagine to get to heaven. Now, if you let me talk about my books, I'll talk about my books. Okay, I just want to make everybody aware that I'm selling a whole bunch of books, and I have books and books and books and books and books that I just don't have like I don't have the audience to sell them to, so I don't release them. But I have like a lot. I'm like the Kafka of the comics world. I've just been silently working away and sort of just I don't know. Like it's like when I've sent it to businesses, it's religious, and I never knew the culture war hated anything to do with God. But my joy and woe, watch it. It was like all my I just like was it for a week or something? I don't know. Like I still can't I'm still frozen. Like I could message one person that I couldn't message, my old business partner. I could message him now, but I other people I can't for their safety, of course, for their safety. Joy and woe, like watch it. It's just go on my whatever playlist or whatever it is, and it's a William Blake poem, but it's highly offensive to people, and he's just saying like you we get joy in this world, we get joy, but we also get woe. Don't be so down when you get the woe, because joy is going to come back, and with every woe there's joy, and woe and joy is sometimes created by woe. It's saying that this is highly offensive, but I guess it's offensive to someone that's woke, because then what it's saying is, oh yeah, it's really based. It's really, oh my gosh, because it's saying, you know, like to get joy, you have to bear with some things. You can't call the government and say, hey, stop, like put that person in jail for saying something that caused me woe. Or it's like as if we have our societies like, okay, we'll sacrifice everything so that there's this one woe that we don't want people to feel, and so we'll destroy every single other aspect to our culture and our people's minds. But that's not right. Anyway, I'm just like blabbing on, and it's like, I'm sorry. I hope I don't bore anybody like before I get to my ad, because I really want to sell my books. El Shaddai 1. It's not as good as El Shaddai 2, but it's kind of weirdly, I don't know, gritty. It's like it's a spiritual journey. It's like there's doubt in it, and there's like I grapple with it, and I get to a point where I I kind of meet God in a weird way. Like it's and there's adventures and stuff like, but the second El Shaddai has more adventures and more like, and the third one I haven't released it yet, but there's some really good stuff. Like it's getting better and better. I'm getting, so I'm like I just it just comes out, anyway, like it's been like that for a while, but anyway, like, but the comic medium is just I'm loving it. It's like I started doing this uncensored fairy tales, and it wasn't a comic at first. It was just a book that was like I was going to have just text and illustrations, and then it slowly kind of turned into a comic. And i just I just realized, like, ridiculous, why am I doing? And well, actually, like, my daughter looked at it and said, why aren't you doing handwritten text? Like, why are you using computer text? And then I was, well, it's classier looking, isn't it? And I guess it was classy in 1970. Like in 1970, they would take the comics and put, like type into it, and it would like, oh, well, this is more classy than the handwritten. This is definitely more classy looking, but that's not the way people think now that the computer's out. It just looks, why aren't you hand rendering it? So all after that, I just went full on comic, and the words by Donald J. Trump is kind of a continuation of the fairy tale stuff in a way, because I took things that he said and just illustrated it in the visionary way, in the way that you imagine. You imagine in the visual, like the visual imagination, and I just, this is it. And what I what this is amazing here, what the book does, okay? Because hair is something I believe. This is the way I thought. This is the way I saw it at first. And then I did a little research, and then I realized, oh, they're lying about this, they're lying about that. Oh, and then I realized, oh, it means this, you know? Um, and I don't know, love or hate Trump. I'm not saying love him, and I'm not saying hate him, anything. I'm just saying the media did some trickery. Here's some trickery. And whatever side you're on, you don't want to be tricked. You don't, the whole thing is, you don't want to be thinking that you're seeing a demon when you're seeing someone that you won't like anyway. You might not like him, but you don't want to think he's a demon. But I mean, he's turned into a demon in people's mind. It's true. He's turned into a tulpa demon. It's like people have sort of manifested this kind of spirit that isn't him. It's because there are lies that, like the very fine people hoax. Okay, if you believe that, you believe a totally different person is in the White House. Like, you might not like him, but like him for the honest and real reason. That's all I'm saying. That's all the book is saying. But people have become, like, very few people have read this, and it seems both sides think that, like, a right-wing person thinks it's a left-wing book, and a left-wing person thinks it's a right-wing book. It's a Rorschach test. This book is a Rorschach test. Have you ever had a Rorschach test? I mean, I haven't been to therapy, so I haven't had a Rorschach test. But you Google them and look at them, and it's fun. You use your imagination to see whatever you see, and whatever you see, it has a meaning. Because, I mean, if you look at them all and say, "Oh, they look like butterflies," it doesn't really. I mean, what that means is you don't have an imagination. If you see just butterflies, that means that you won't see God, because you don't see God without the imagination. And then when you get to the end of life, God will say, "I don't know you. When did I ever? When did we ever talk? When did we ever, like, huh?" But with imagination, you can go anywhere you want, really. And with imagination, you can go the other direction too. I'm not saying the imagination leads you to God, but it is the pathway. It's the pathway to God or Satan. It's the pathway to, I don't know, every other being and mystical realm. Okay, the imagination. That's where it is. Oh yeah, I'll tell you about Don't Eat the Books. That's my children's book, and it's super funny. I wrote it before I found out they were trying to get us to eat bugs. And so when I wrote it, it was just, haha, isn't it funny? Wouldn't it be hilarious if people wanted us to eat bugs? Like, it's sort of like there's a Monty Python skit where they do that. Like, they talk about, like, this one craze that is current. And I don't want to mention it because you gotta get out on a tangent and end up talking for hours and hours and hours and hours. Anyway, yes, watch my Joy and Woe video, and buy my books, and read poetry. Really, like, it isn't the sissy medium that everybody thinks it is. Everybody, like, I grew up thinking, like, oh, poetry, that's for, like, some guy named Percival, right? Like, there's some guy named Percival. He reads poems when everybody else is playing and getting dirty in the muck. No, no, no. Poetry was the medium that all Greek myths are written in poetry, and everything was written in poetry. Like, if you look at all the battle poetry There's everything. There's crusaders. I was reading some crusader poetry, and he was just like telling how awesome it is to, like, fight, and I don't want to get into it. Yeah, but maybe I've thought of doing that crusader poetry, but um, I don't know. Like, I live in Canada. It's like they might put me in jail. It sounds crazy, but yeah, there was the Christian singer a little while ago, and he was arrested for being a Christian, it seems, and then they realized, and he was banned all through a whole bunch of places, and it's for being Christian, and the media said, no, it's not because he's Christian, it's because he's MAGA. Okay, well then you're saying, like, over half of Americans voted for this one party, and if you did, you're not allowed in our country, you get arrested. What? That's crazier. That's even crazier. I mean, the anti-Christian thing is like, it's front and center, is everywhere here. Like, it's like we have 500 churches that have been, ARSONED. I mean, if I say it out loud, like, it's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that in Canada. I don't know if I'm allowed to spell it out in Canada. Put it that way. Yeah. I'm going to get a little bit algorithmically demoted. I should have a drink. Because 31 minutes of going blah, blah, blah. I hope it's better than that. Anyway, I want to do great things. I really do. I want to awaken the imagination in the Western world. I want to reawaken, and I'm taking old poetry, and I'm reading the oldest stuff, and I'm rewriting some of the oldest stuff. I've even rewritten some Dante. I have King Arthur stuff coming up, and I have stuff recorded, and I have stuff like done, and I'm just, I have a lot done, and a lot sort of half done, and a lot. So I don't know. This is culturally significant, I think. If people embrace it, I mean, I'll be happy, but the imagination will be happy, because we need to look at still images. We need to think. We need to use our minds again. Oh, my computer turned off. It's a blue screen. It's saying, shut up, shut up. You're going to lose everyone. Shut up. Okay, I guess that's it. So until next. Follow up. I just got a text from my partner, ex-business partner. He says that that it doesn't, Facebook, the message didn't, the video didn't send to him. He can't see the video. Like, so the original message that I thought was sent, somehow they blocked that, even like the actual video. And he was one of the first people I sent it. So they must have went back to it and went, whoa, let's make sure people don't see this. This is mind-blowing. Like, imagine going like 20 years ago and showing someone this video, Joey and Woe, and saying in 20 years from now, this will be considered they're not saying it's hate. This will be considered not allowed. This will be considered like, oh boy, our culture sure is afraid of these ideas. For people's safety, you better not think that joy might come after you feel woe, and or that when you're feeling joy, for your own safety, you better know that, like, woe, like, if better not, like, know that woe might come back again, but that it's a circle, and that there's joy and woe, like a circle. It's like the circle of life, like a plant growing. And this is a dangerous message in our time. This is, wow. This is, I'm constantly I'm constantly astounded. I'm constantly astounded